Hey everybody, Sam here, bringing you another episode of Tactical Supremacy. This time I'm joined by Joran, and he brought Circle. So today's game, we played Recon 2. I brought my Kaelyssa list in Legions. I was running double Sentinels, pair of Hydras, Banshee, and then the random support solos. I lost the roll to go first, so I ended up second. And you, Jordan, today brought?
I brought Circle, running Krueger 2 and Bones, mostly because I had it painted, and it's fun.
It is really, really good. So you won the roll. Why'd you decide you wanted to go second, and why did you take the side that you did?
The terrain had a very much favored side, and it was a very live scenario I wanted the opportunity to score first on. And in those situations, I will go second more often than first if the other list doesn't compel me otherwise.
Sure.
And your list, Sentinels run 10. I wasn't too worried about you taking all the table away from me.
No, it was going to be a struggle. I mean, the Kaelyssa list is very much built for, just delivering, but it's a slow delivery. It's kind of the closest thing I feel that Rhett comes to an attrition list that we have. So, yeah, I got stuck on the side with a bunch of rough terrain and some buildings, and so I ended up skewing my Sentinels away from the houses. I was going to try to flood a zone and just kind of hold you off. I mean, my plan was to try to weather your feet turn and then win on attrition is what I was going for there. And so and also Sentinels are the only thing in my list that has native Pathfinder because of a charge. I really struggle with terrain.
Yeah, I think there was either side you picked for the Sentinels, if they were on a flank, I would have had an answer to that. If you go on the side with the water and the forest, I'm going to use those to delay them. If you go on the side with the house, I'm going to use it to block LOS to most of them.
Right.
To mitigate what they can do.
So yeah, it is going to be an uphill battle no matter what. So I had my Hydras. I kind of was hoping that with the Hydras deployed up near the houses there, that I'd be able to just kind of park them around that zone and just shoot through it, targeting specific pieces and solos and important stuff that Circle lists tend to carry. I feel like Circle is definitely one of those factions that has a lot of key solos and key pieces that they need to survive, to make them kind of function.
Yeah, if you lose the wrong piece at the wrong time, it just kind of falls apart. Woldwarden without stone strength, or whatever the Stoneshaper's ability is called, suddenly just
fisted?
Yeah, doesn't really hurt a jack.
Right. So I'm running all my Sentinels here through I was charging them through the water at all the different targets I could get to. It kind of felt like after I ran them that I was like, I could have probably just instead of charging into the water, I could have just probably ran a little bit and clumped myself up just because your fulcrum was so far away that I wasn't super concerned about the blasts. It wasn't positioned with the stones, and wasn't really in a place that was going to threaten them, and then the mannequins are just too far away to actually spray them down. So I didn't really need to, and I could have probably negotiated this water a little bit better to get a little bit deeper in there. But yeah, I mean, I ran up. There was also the important fact, playing against Circle, you do not want to play with your upkeeps if you want your pieces to survive, especially because you were bringing a couple weirds with you. So as much as Kaelyssa loves her upkeeps, I made the conscious decision not to put them on any of my models except for Kaelyssa. I did put Refuge on her. It was a sacrifice that I had to make that I was figured I would just be conscientious about my placement of her in relation to your weirds. Just, but still constantly terrified of getting shot there.
Here, I made the decision to kill a couple Sentinels that were in range of the Sentry Stone. I'm very careful about Vengeance, but I decided I would give them Vengeance and simply not put anything within their new enhanced threat range.
Which is a good way to deal with the Vengeance. Yeah, especially when half the unit's sitting in the water, so they're not really going that far anyway.
Yeah.
Definitely kind of a small mistake there.
Here I tried to Geomancy a Lightning Storm onto Sentinels, who had the Soulless Escort, but Sam let me switch the target because I forgot about the Soulless. Still drifted somewhere not particularly useful, targeting the Jack.
Yeah, it was a common theme this game. The Soulless kind of giving you some problems.
It's a silly thing to forget, but when I'm playing a Spell Slinger, I forgot it a lot. Here I killed a mannequin of mine with another one that drifted poorly.
Even though now the lightning immune bubble,
I believe it's 10 inches.
Okay, so this one might have
may or may not have been in. I'm not sure.
Because we did remember, you remembered it later on in the game, but
I mostly don't think about that ability unless I'm playing against Signar, because there's not that much lightning out there.
There really isn't. I mean, the Vira Electromancers are super cool models, but I just don't know if you'd ever want to bring them against a Circle player, so you're just never going to see it out of red.
Yeah, I mean, there's a high chance they'll have Krueger, but they're probably good into Tharn.
That's fair, with the new Tharn coming out. I mean, right now your kind of plan is to pair this Krueger 2 list with a Tharn list.
That's what I'd go for.
Yeah.
It's risky to take Electromancers if people do that.
Right.
I don't know if people will. I'm going to.
that list chicken thing's going to be interesting here. So just a note, we're terrible about remembering to flip the turn counter there, so I'm actually on my turn 2 while it still shows turn 1. And I apologize for that, and it just is the way it is. But so going into my turn 2 here, I'm definitely planning on feeding. I'm expecting you to counter feed into me and push me around a lot, and there's just not really much I can do about that. So I just figured I'd try to play around it as best I could. That's part of the reason why I'm spreading out as far as I can, to force you to kind of into a central location defeat, so that maybe I might randomly get a chance to try to assassinate you, because Krueger doesn't have the best defensive stats.
No, if you can get around Windstorm, he is pretty scared. Yeah. And you can get around Windstorm because you outrange it by an inch.
Yeah, Hydras are really, really cute like that with their 15 inches to your 14-inch Windstorm. It's pretty nifty. But yeah, so that's kind of where I was at. Was like, I knew I was going to get feeded on. I knew you were going to score points, and I was just trying to figure out how I could, survive through your feed turn to then get past that and get into the attrition phase where I could then swing things in my favor. Was the plan that I was going for. So here's where, I decided, all right, if you're going to push me around, so Sentinels lose their base-to-base defense, or their armor buff, but I did decide to mini-feed because you still get that. So at least armor 18 Sentinels are kind of a thing.
Substantially better than 15?
Yeah, because I'm squaring off against mannequins right now, and the sprays are POW 10s?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can hit them sort of well with your Rat 5. And then, so like you end up having to boost on one of those two things, either, or I feel like.
Yeah, one or the other, unless I aim for the hit.
Right.
And then you can hit pretty easy. But only one of them is going to get to aim.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I do end up mini-feeding with both units here. I only have one token, that's irrelevant, but it is how I went. And then the Artificer here in a minute will apply Force Barrier to one of the units to just try to make it a little bit more difficult. I did have a Ghost Sniper that eventually my plan was to put him out on a flag, but since I knew you were going to feed and push him off, I decided to hold him back where he wouldn't die, and then save him for the next turn when it actually, I could have put him on the flag where I know he'd stay. There is a Gallows Grove there at the bottom of the screen that he just went and plinked some damage on, just because. But it, just kind of setting myself up here for the next turn. Now, when Kaelyssa does eventually feed here, she does, I'm not catching all the Sentinels and stuff, but it is, it's. I feel like I'm far enough away. You don't have any ambushers. I'm not really worried about the flanks as much. There was something actually pretty. The Fulcrum was definitely a concern here, but on, I believe it is, it's this turn here where this occurs. I do have my Hydras. They're going to start taking some shots here in a minute, and I do put Phantom Hunter on them. And I kind of made a mistake here. That Hydra that I just applied Phantom Hunter to's base to base with the house, and it ends up blocking my line of sight to the second Hydra. And I couldn't get Kaelyssa to get close enough to shoot the Woldwyrd behind a wall, Woldwarden behind the wall, and then still have line of sight to the Hydra. And I didn't want her that far out. I needed that refuge to step her away from your weirds in the eventual retaliation. So I just made the sacrifice that I'd only Phantom Hunter the one Hydra and go from there.
That really just saves you from having to hit a def 14, right?
The knockdown,
because you were shooting the Warden, who has def 10 up to 14, which you would ignore with Phantom Hunter, right?
Correct. It was mainly the Hydras don't shoot the Warden in this turn. Actually, this Hydra that has Phantom Hunter and now Puppet Master, it takes a shot. I'm trying to scalpel out your.
I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, we unfortunately we lost the first audio we did, so we're trying to remember
Part two.
As this goes along. But I do end up trying to shoot this because I was under the false impression that if you kill the leader of the stone unit, all the mannequins go away, and that is not true. But still operating under that assumption, take shot. The Hydra unfortunately fails to kill, and is just all right. I don't know what to do with this Hydra. Just kind of figuring stuff out. Figured he's going to be sitting in the zone. But that's when I noticed that speaking of important critical pieces left on your shifting stones, surrounding the fulcrum, left it out where I could see it.
Yeah, basically, a half inch this way and that makes all the difference in this game.
It really does. So I was actually able to take that piece out, which was huge because it limits your mobility a lot with that fulcrum.
Yeah, it is an incredible piece to teleport. Probably one of the few pieces that it's still actually exciting to teleport left since the changing to teleport. Because, you don't really gain any threat range on almost anything with it anymore, but you do with that piece.
I mean, I'd say maybe Loki's the only one that...
Yes, Loki's another one that's...
Still do it.
A quality teleport target.
Recently got by a teleporting Loki, but that's a different story for a different time. So this time I was able to... shifting stones are definitely a priority when I play against Circle, but got lucky there. Taking some random chip shots at your knockdown... Or sorry, no, that was you healing it. This is now back to your turn.
Yeah.
Because of your theme benefit, which was obnoxious.
Yeah, I also messed up my Fury management. You stole one of mine when you shot a Warden with Kaelyssa.
I did.
And I forgot to create extra for the battle engine. So I just cut for 4 on Krueger because it's not worth it to leave the battle engine empty. They get so much value out of those boosts.
Yeah, no, you have to. You have to leave it there.
But the timing was such that Krueger can't cut and heal with the objective, so the Warden got the extra healing.
So you're going into this round. I mean, obviously you're feeding. I mean,
yeah, this has to be a feed turn.
I was assuming it. I don't think there was really a question. So you're measuring out right here.
So the trick I found on Krueger's feet turn is pushing enemies away is often not what you want to do. You want to push some and you want to pull others. So it's important to choose the order in which your pieces activate so that you're not TKing something in and then feeding and pushing it away again.
From where you need it.
Yeah.
Right.
So with your feet giving stealth and not being able to charge, the only piece I could detect that I could really do attrition work on, other than the Sentinels, who I didn't want to give vengeance to, was this heavy in the zone up here. So I trampled in, TK'd it around to make it easier to hit and to get it within walk-shoot range of the Fulcrum, despite stealth.
Which was crazy, because you saw me there. I thought you were just going to TK it away. And you did not.
Krueger's an interesting combination of pulling your stuff in that you don't want pulled in and pushing your stuff away that you don't want pushed away. And the great thing about this list with him is that you have 3 TKs that can happen before or after he activates.
Right.
Which just gives you tons of flexibility to do what you want. Here, the Fulcrum did a lot, but didn't finish you off.
No, it trucked me. I mean, it pretty much took me down to nothing.
I activated the Weird early here, but I was allowed to take that back and actually TK it forward because I forgot about stealth. It needs to walk up further.
Right. Yeah, you hadn't rolled any dice. We're usually pretty lenient about that kind of stuff. That as long as I love the way the Canadians put it. As long as the game state hasn't changed, then you're allowed to take something back, which I liked. But yeah, so you TK'd me, or sorry, you TK'd the Weird because you already TK'd me once. Yes. You can't do that. So, and then he rolls up and fails to finish me off, but I'm on 2 boxes.
Yeah. So I'm happy with that. You're facing the wrong way. You are very broken. I don't remember what you had left, but it was sufficient that I was no longer concerned about you.
Right. There is an Arcanist standing close enough to the Hydra that I could repair it next turn, but the important thing is I go through the ability to actually assign focus to it before that happens. So that Jack is very much non-functional. The objective I also took this turn was this game was Pathfinder, so there's really no other way to heal it before the control phase happened.
So here I'm making yet another mistake. I was planning on rebuking one of the unit of Sentinels, and I moved my tree up, and I just did not move it close enough, accounting for the Arcanist. So instead, Krueger decides to cast a lightning storm, forgetting about the Arcanist again, and drifts it directly on top of himself, pretty much.
Yeah. It's a good thing he's immune to electricity.
Yeah. So clearly I need to practice this list more.
Yeah, or just play against Soulless Escorts.
Yeah, more often.
Yeah.
He moves up in the cover of the wall. This made me nervous, but I thought I'd be okay. One of your jacks that can shoot through Windstorm was broken. That made me feel better. Mm-hmm. So I had 1 Fury camped, and you had 1 gun that could get to me.
Yeah, one gun, which is a problem. So your feet did miss Kaelyssa. It didn't catch her, but with Windstorm up, she still only fires that thing 7 inches with a 6-inch walk, and I was outside of 13 because I didn't get caught in your feet. So
yeah, I'm totally safe from Kaelyssa.
Right. And
it occurs to me, are you sure that Iron Zeal doesn't prevent pushes?
It prevents knockdown and stationary. It does not prevent pushes. It'd have to be inviolable resolve.
Right.
Yeah. What does that? So yeah. So no, all these guys got pushed around, and that was sad times.
And I avoided triggering Vengeance at all because
I was really hoping you did. That was a smart thing to do, to not trigger it on the turn that I'm going to be super slow.
Yeah. Here I run the Weird more towards the center. I'm basically moving pieces away from that flank because I'm just going to not fight the Sentinels. I'm going to wait until I can wipe them out and otherwise just hinder their ability to do anything productive. So I'm going to leave them to fight mannequins, which is totally worth the 40 points of Sentinels that are on that side of the table.
Yeah, I definitely mismanaged my Sentinels a fair bit this game. I definitely was hoping I could have wrapped up this zone a little bit faster, or at least the plan was, but the fact that you didn't trigger Vengeance was a really smart thing and kept me from really utilizing them in an efficient, in a useful manner. So pretty much just finishing your turn up here and you score 3 points? 2 points.
This turn. I get a Blackclad on the flag and the zone. I honestly accidentally pushed that jack out of it. I wasn't really planning on scoring that zone. I was thinking of killing the jack, not pushing it out. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I feel like your dice, the Weird didn't really put out as much damage as it probably should have.
I think it was probably above average to kill with the attacks that I put into it, but not outrageously so.
No. I didn't have any upkeeps, but it's a POW 12 to start. Yeah.
So off 6 does a lot across 3 attacks and 2 boosts.
Yeah, 2 boosted attacks. Yes, it's not nothing. Not nothing. So, all right. So the feat happened, and now I'm sitting here okay, how do I not lose the game? Is the plan. I'm obviously need to contest the zone there that you've got and I want to start scoring my flag. The Ghost Snipers and the Artificer are both in position to do that, and I want to start getting attrition work done. So this moment right here is going to be important later, but I feel like this was a critical mistake that was made. That Jack only had 2 boxes to start with, and I made the decision to go repair it. And I mean, even rolling a 6, it would have gotten 8 boxes. And I'm staring down a Fulcrum and a Ward, and that Jack was not going to survive the next round, regardless. Like no matter what, there's nothing I'm going to do. So I feel like that was a kind of a mistake there, wasted activation. But at the time, I did it thinking that I'd fix that guy up and then start shooting with him and having some fun in future turns. But so I only have 1 Phantom Hunter thing. I did end up having Kaelyssa. You saw just right there, I was cleared out a mannequin that was in the way of the Sentinels because I need to get the Sentinels in to start doing some work here. That Woldwarden is kind of my target. That he's standing out there. He's not really in a position where I can charge him with my jacks, but the Sentinels are close enough where I can get a few on him.
Yeah, this was the unit that was supposed to be rebuked.
Right.
Which you can remove. Eilish was too far away, which I factored into my decision making, but you have Banishing Ward.
Yeah.
But the trick is, if you use Banishing Ward, my weirds can just ravage the unit next turn, which I figure is worth losing a Warden.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought that part through. I mean, the Soulless Escort has a way to do it, but you pass up the chance to charge before he can do it, so that's not really an option. I mean, so yeah, so this list actually has a lot of way to deal with enemy upkeeps, but it just wasn't a great thing. I mean, the Soul has helped, but like, yeah, that's a good point. That like the Banishing Ward on the Sentinels is great, and then the Weirds roll up and just murder the whole unit, which is because 2 of them put out 6 shots, and that's half a unit, and then that's bad.
Yeah.
So I have the Banshee. He kind of starts this whole train off, knocking down that Warden, and you know, putting some damage. I think I rolled pretty high on that damage roll, and then I have the Hydra here going up and taking a shot at the Warden to throw some additional damage on it, and 2 shots I'd taken half health there based on your phone. This was another mistake that I made here. I had Phantom Hunter on the Hydra, and I chose to shoot the Warden instead of dealing with your Blackclad. I never really considered it during this turn, and I definitely should have a little bit, you know, prioritized, at least, if not contesting it, trying to, you know, kill it.
Stop the scoring for this turn.
Right. I kind of tunnel visioned in on killing this Warden, figuring that I would be able to score enough points to hold you back from you know, winning later, you know. So I have the Sentinels that can charge go in, and it turns out, I mean, aside from the Hydra mistake, I really actually needed the damage that it put into the Warden, because after 2 Sentinel attacks on a knockdown dude, I did not roll very well and left you on 4 boxes.
Yeah, Wardens take a lot of damage, but they have a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
So they're like a sponge.
Yeah. And it's really obnoxious because a Ghost Sniper does 3 damage, but you have 4 boxes. And oh my god, you do not want to leave a beast on 1 box. It is the worst thing, worst feeling in the world. It just sucks because you know that the beast is going to be fully functional next turn and just all in your face. But I realized that my Artificer is actually in range, and he's got a POW 13, which isn't insignificant. I get a little lucky on the dice, and I take out the Warden. He does not apply Force Barrier because of that, but I feel like all in all, that part was worth it. And so we keep moving forward with the plan of just crashing these Sentinels into this zone and really just taking it over. And just trying to get all of this stuff cleared out and start scoring this. My plan at the time is to clear you out of this zone and then just hold you back from scoring out, and then win on either time or attrition. Because you still have to, in my head, I figured I'll have 2 Hydras that you have to constantly respect, so you have to be careful of them, and an entire unit, you know, a couple units of Sentinels that are slowly going to get just more and more difficult to deal with.
Yeah, at this point, I'd lost more than you had if you count the top Hydra as being alive, which, you know, opinions vary.
Right. Aforementioned, it really was not alive. So this is when we start to realize that, because I didn't deal with that Blackclad, I really didn't actually like catch up with you on points. I just held the points where they were at. And now you really only have to score 2 additional points to just win. And as we've talked, that Hydra that was really banged up is the only thing standing in that zone. So it's not really a thing. The flag you already have. And so you need 1 additional point and you win.
Yeah. So knowing this, I just have to kill that objective. There's a warden right there. Not difficult. But I decide I want to try to win by assassinating you and win on scenario.
Yeah, you're on video. You're going for the slam dunk.
Exactly.
You're like, I'm going to show these people what's what.
What can I say? I'm a showboater.
Yeah.
So I measure out a charge with Krueger at the objective to get the first TK and bring you close enough to a trampoline warden to gallows you and then shoot you to death, hopefully.
Right. Because I have refuge on Kaelyssa, so weirds can just murder her. And I think I had 2 focus. Like, it doesn't matter. Arm 14 to your POW 12 with an additional die of damage, like, the focus won't matter.
Casters die to weirds if they have keeps on them.
It's so gross. So, yeah, you're measuring this out here. I think, you're still at this point, because we're trying to figure out, because there's a wall. I mean, from the objective, it's the objective, the Banshee, a couple Sentinels, the Soulless Escort, and an Artificer that is creating like a physical wall of models. And part of what you were trying to figure out is how to remove them. Because the weird right now is sitting, I believe it's
with
just below the
green
objective.
Pyramid there.
Right, yeah, just below the objective on your kind of where your tape measure is at. So it needs something in that area cleared out of the way to be able to actually like shoot her, assuming this whole plan goes the way you want.
Yeah.
So that's what those mannequins are out doing, and this is where we kind of had discussed before. Their mannequins are great, but they're also okay.
Yeah. They can be amazing, but Sentinels have good enough def and good enough arm that you're really not killing without the boosts. So you can't kill as many as one might think.
Right. And even with a boost, it's not really guaranteed.
Yeah. I think 2 units activated and killed 1 Sentinel.
And it was the wrong Sentinel.
Yeah, not the one that was part of that wall that I wanted to poke a hole in. Yeah. I did land my Hunter's Marks on the objective and the Jack. I think at this point we'd realized the Banshee has Wailing, so I need to kill it and the objective.
Yep.
For my double play.
Yes, thank you to Brett for beating me in a tournament game while we both forgot about Wailing, and I've never forgot about it since, but this is the first time it actually ever came up, and I pointed it out, and we were both just like, well, I guess you're going to have a real tough time making this happen with a Banshee standing right next to Krueger when he tries to do all his bananas.
So I move up my strength buff, the Warden. It charges across.
Because you're like, okay, I'm going to kill the Banshee, then the objective, then Kaelyssa. It'll be great.
Yeah, I don't know the odds on this. They're not terrible. A strength buffed Warden with a free charge.
You probably could have gotten the Banshee, but
it helps when you don't miss your 2 initials and your first bot attack.
Oh my god. It was bad.
Yeah, so I just immediately aborted and bought my last 2 on the objective. Finish the objective off and put you out of your misery by killing the Jack in the top zone.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, it was a struggle there, but yeah, you definitely. I mean, the Kaelyssa would have been hard, but the scenario was easy. You already had that in the bag.
Yeah, it's fun to try to engineer janky assassinations with Krueger too,
because he can do it.
Yeah, he's got the tools to go deep.
All right. So final thoughts on the game. How'd you feel?
I felt favored going into the matchup, assuming I did a good job wrangling the Sentinels. And I did. Because if those 2 units can charge, they can kill literally my whole list if I give it to them.
Yeah.
in one activation.
They could. Yeah, they really could. I don't know what the math is, but it's probably only half a unit could probably take out a fulcrum.
I don't think you'd even need the whole half. Yeah.
maybe less depending on how you spike.
My entire battle group just, they're all about controlling when you're dealing with Sentinels.
Yeah, for sure. And to that end, I feel like, I went in with a clear plan of what I was going to try to do, and it was not a good enough plan, and I didn't really feel like I executed it well. I didn't use the Sentinels in a efficient manner. I almost felt like, looking back on it, I was a little too cautious with them, to the point where it ended up costing me. Because I had felt that, like, at that point, if I had survived one more turn, attrition was going to start telling and was going to start moving in my favor, because the Banshee was pretty much untouched at that point, thanks to your terribly bad dice. And so that Banshee can also take out heavy by itself, and then the Sentinels actually start coming in and getting involved in the game a lot. Because they were so far off to the side and you didn't trigger Vengeance on the turn that I needed you to do that, I just couldn't get them deep enough to actually matter.
Yeah, I think at a certain point, especially with a Vengeance unit, you just have to throw some of them away. You have to force your opponent to kill them.
Right.
Otherwise, like, they're alive, but why?
Right. Yeah, looking back on it, if I had put a unit of Sentinels in the center and put a couple of them in the zones, it would have been a little bit easier. Of course, it is Krueger. You can move a Sentinel up to 5 inches without having to actually do anything to it. So that's always kind of an issue. But you put a few Sentinels deep into zones and just make it a little bit to the point where you can't push them far enough to get them out, and maybe it could have swung it a little bit better.
Yeah, there's only so many tools.
Right. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
All right. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and click the little bell so that you get notified when a new video goes up. There's a new person every week, so I won't be here.
Or you might be.
I'll probably be here again.
Yeah, at some point.